Alright, so UFC 319 has concluded, aka the next middleweight GOAT has been crowned, and unfortunately we're going to be going through one fight a year championships. That's just the new era of MMA, I guess. Call me what you like. I see a lot of people saying it's the casual take. I don't give a fuck. You think that's an insult? Kind of is, alright, kind of stings, but regardless of that fact, 319 has concluded. Khamzat Chimaev is the champion, but we move on to this weekend. Another week and another fight night main event we got here. Johnny Walker versus Ming Yang Zhang, aka the two people who retired Anthony Smith, okay? One could say, they figured out the armadillo style even better than the great John Jones did. So, interesting main event we got here, but, we'll save that for later. If you don't know, you're maybe newer to the channel, I don't necessarily bet on all these fights. I'm going to start making my recommendations, okay? Starting from today, maybe what I'd bet on, all right? Maybe I'll try to remember it throughout the fights. Maybe I forget. It is what it is. Regardless, I'm going to be here predicting all of these fights top to bottom, as I have been doing for the past almost year now, alright? Coming on my 1 year prediction anniversary, okay? Anyways, yeah, so I do this purely because of passion. I love the sport, and, yeah, I've watched every single event for the past 3 years, almost 3 years, I'd say, maybe 3 years, I'd have to go and double check, but regardless, yeah, that's basically my background. So let's get into the predictions here. Dyer, I feel like I shouldn't say his last name. Maybe you can't tell, cause, camera, whatever. I've been getting a lot of accusations I'm Asian. I don't know how the fuck that happens, but alright. But, my skin tone, alright, you can see my skin tone. This word might be a little risky, okay? So we're just gonna call this guy Dyer, alright? Dyer versus Urin Sadibaldiev. What a name! Sadibaldiev. Okay, that sounds like an insult. What the fuck? Anyways, interesting, fight we got here. These debuts, why do I not remember these guys? Martin Bidet, eh? Holy shit. Wait, this is a light heavyweight? Oh, shit. Oh, Brenton or Ribeiro. Okay. Okay. And then this guy lost to Martin Bidet. If I remember correctly, wasn't this a robbery? Or am I tripping? There was a fight recently. I want to say it was either Modestus Bukkake or it was Martin Bidet. I want to say this was a robbery, if I'm remembering correctly. Interesting. Oh shit! This guy's the guy with the fucking tick. That's who this guy is. I know this guy, Dyer. Fucking, I feel like that's not how you pronounce the name, but damn. Okay, this guy's the guy with the fucking tick who kept on itching at his eye the whole time. Some people were making the accusations that Dyer might be on some sort of steroid because of his tick, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're gonna find out what I'm talking about, okay? If you're familiar with, like, Dustin Poirier's pulling up the shorts, if you're familiar with Khabib's, like, where he touches his forehead and he's rubbing his forehead, think about those ticks, but, like, dial them up to, like, 1,000, okay? Take that modifier and just 10x it, okay? This guy, there's gonna be more of his own strikes landed on himself than his opponent, because he'll be itching at his eye the whole time, doing more damage to himself than his opponent. That is a guarantee. So if you're looking at, like, strikes landed per minute or something like that, this guy's gonna set world records, okay, when they count that eye scratching. Okay, Dyer is going to be scratching his eye this whole fight, unless he's got it under control now. Maybe it was just debut jitters. This guy was supposed to be really good, man, but he got fucked up really fast by Brenton Ribeiro. Brenton Ribeiro is good-ish. Not really, he's kind of a can. I think he's like 15-9. He did, like, his losses are good, though, and he sometimes looks like a world beater. And by world beater, I mean sometimes it looks like there's talent there. He's a long dude as well. Losing to Martin Bidet. Huh. So he's coming down from heavyweights? Why the fuck is this guy the favorite? Am I missing something here? And people are picking him? That's interesting. Huh. Really? What? Why the fuck are people picking this guy? I'm so confused. This guy just lost to Martin Bidet. If I'm remembering the correct fight, I thought it was a robbery. If I remember this Urin guy, he shoots, or like, he's like one of those boring grapplers that just like pushes you against the fence. If I'm remembering correctly, I could be thinking of the Modestus Bukkake fight. Because Modestus Bukkake and fucking Martin Bidet, I kind of get mixed up a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know, they just like seem like the same people to me. But yeah, this Brenson Ribeiro one, in hindsight, like, it was a bad look. Bro, this is gonna be like, bro, do I trust that he's got that tick under control? Because if he doesn't, he's gonna be fucking cooked. You know? He got wobbled pretty bad, I'm pretty sure, as well. This is a tough one. What a barn burner in this debut, huh? Or this start to the card. Holy shit. I'm gonna go with Dyer, this guy. By the way, I don't do a lot of research. I go based off of what I've seen, okay? If you couldn't tell from this breakdown. And what I remember and everything. Because I like that instant reaction and stuff. And I feel like if I go back and watch some of the fights, it's kind of like I'm looking for ways for the opponent to win. And I'm trusting that he's going to do the exact same thing from his former fight, rather than just getting a general gist of what he does. Because obviously every fight's not going to be the same. And normally I don't look up predictions for anything before I do my predictions. So typically I'll do my predictions, then I'll watch the MMA Gurus, Lucas Tracy's, whatever's. You know, I'll watch their predictions afterwards. Because normally I record the shit on a Sunday. Regardless of that, I think I'm going to go with this Dyer guy. Before, I get it was his debut, and like his tick is really, 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 really bad. And if he has that tick, he's getting fucked up. But I don't like this guy from heavyweight going down. Maybe it was just a debut thing. I don't know this guy's fucking LF no one cares career. Yeah, I don't recognize a single name. Like, who the Open Fighting Championship? Like, what the fuck is even that, you know? Damn, both of these guys lost their O this year. That's kind of crazy to think about, huh? Anyways, I'm going to go with this Dyer guy. This Dyer guy had a fair bit of hype. He looked pretty flabby coming in. I'm going to hope he's got his tick under control. I feel like if he's got his tick under control, this guy might actually look pretty good. You know, but I don't know. We'll see if he scratches his eye. I'm going to go with this Dyer guy, probably by decision. I just think, like, bro, pure wrestling, I feel like just doesn't work. Like, you have to strike well wrestling, you know? Like, even Hamzat did that, as boring as that performance was. Like, that was a fucking boring, pathetic performance. But, like, you gotta strike, you know? You gotta be like Mozavar Evloev, as boring as fucking they are, right? I don't know, if I'm remembering correctly, this Urin guy just kept on shooting for, like, double legs and shit, and just wasn't really getting it. And he was getting pieced up, too, so I don't know, like, it's a tough one. I'm going to go with this Dyer guy. Not really think too hard about it. It's just like two cans at the end of the day. Moving on, we have Long Zhao versus Su Young Yo. You So Young, as some people call him. Goddamn. Quang Li. This one, I think I remember. This one, he like flatline KO'd him. That was a sick performance. That one was a close fight, if I remember. And his opponent, Long Zhao, I want to say his opponent was, like, debut? No, it was his debut. That's what it was. It was Long Zhao's debut. And it was very fucking close. Chang Ho Lee. I feel like if I see this guy, it might help. But I feel like, also, if I see that guy, it might not help. For reasons. But, regardless, yeah. Chang Ho Lee literally looked like a fucking goddamn world beater. This guy would not get put out, even though Long Zhao was landing bombs, like absolute fucking nukes. This Quang Li, I feel like was a step down, and I feel like he treated it like a step down and whooped his ass. Quang Lee's not that bad, is he? I don't think he's that bad. That's an image, not gonna do that. Su Young Yu's pretty good. If I remember correctly, yeah, the AJ Cunningham, that's what it was. He did beat the shit out of AJ, and that was like a drained AJ. Like, bantamweight AJ is like kind of a problem because of how big he was. Very close fight, to be fair. I think it was a 29-28, I want to say. And then that was just a fucking can that I don't even remember at all. Zhang, yeah, I don't give a fuck. He did look good in this fight, but he did look like he could be outworked. This is an interesting one. I feel like Long Zhao's kind of live here for a KO. Because AJ Cunningham, I think he got wobbled a few moments. I don't think he did a lot of damage. He was just tough enough to, like, survive. I feel like if he's tough enough to survive at bantamweight, like, him getting finished at lightweight was kind of impressive by, who was that guy? Not Jordan Levitt. Who the fuck was that guy? He literally, something Klein. Ludovic Klein? I think Ludovic Klein's the one who finished him at lightweight. That was kind of an impressive performance, but I really don't think that performance against AJ Cunningham was that good. But Yu So Young, he is, like, he's kind of good everywhere. So I think if he implements grappling properly, he might have Long Zhao in a pickle, and he might be able to hold him against the fence. I don't think that's what happened in any of the UFC fights that I remember from Long Zhao. I think most of the time it's a striking match with Long Zhao, and he looked pretty fucking crisp. I feel like Long Zhao's kind of live here for a KO. You know, like, I can just see, like, body shots, wearing on Su Young Yu, you know? And then Su Young Yu kind of getting held against the fence. He did get outmuscled. AJ Cunningham is big, though. Damn, Long Zhao is bigger as well. Ooh. I don't know, man. This is a tough one. I'm going to lean toward Long Zhao getting this one done. I reckon he gets it done via decision. I think he gets a really bad... I think he knocks down Su Young Yu really, really bad in one of the rounds. Gets held against a cage in one of the other rounds. And then, I want to say, like, round 1, he probably knocks down Su Young Yu. Or, like, maybe an off-balance type of looks like a knockdown. Judges think it's a knockdown type situation. Round 2... we see Su Young Yu kind of hold him against the cage. Maybe Long Zhao can reverse position and end up on top, but, you know, Yu So Young ends up just fucking doing stuff off his back, trying to threaten submissions and stuff, but Long Zhao eventually, you know, plays safe, sort of rides out the round, and then round 3, I think Su Young Yu's probably going to hold Long Zhao against the cage, and it's going to be one of those things where it's like, the last round, a lot of people are going to be like, oh man, robbery, but I feel like Long Zhao's probably going to get it done. I don't know, I feel like Long Zhao's very dangerous. He's kind of like Morgan Charrier, in a way, but for bantamweight, if that makes sense. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, like, he's very game, like, he will stand and bang. He'll get rocked, he'll get hurt, he'll still stand and bang, and fucking want to die. You know, so I got a lot of respect for Long Zhao for his performances in the UFC so far. He's still young, still probably improving. He's bigger, he's got the reach advantage, like, he's very fast, too. And a lot of these Chinese fighters, Japanese fighters, you know, they're very, very fast, you know? So I think this is going to be interesting, because when I say fast, I mean in terms of the striking, and like, oh, if he gets sort of shot on, it's very likely this guy's got the speed to get a nice sprawl going. So I'm going to go with Long Zhao here. I reckon a decision. Nice comfortable 29-28, but a lot of people are going to be looking at the last round. Or maybe the second round and being like, damn, Su Young Yu, you know, he did so much, but it wasn't enough, or something like that. That's probably what the commentary is going to say, or some shit. Moving on. Yi Jia versus Weston Wilsons. I've seen the odds for this fight. What the fuck? Are you on crack cocaine? Listen, Weston Wilson is one of these guys, like a Chase Hooper, like an Alex Morono. They genuinely look like human beings that have the lowest possible testosterone in the entire UFC. You could take the women fighters, and I guarantee the women fighters have a higher testosterone level than Weston Wilson's, okay? But, damn, he's old too, huh? Jesus Christ. But his losses are good. Gene Silva, Joe Anderson, Brito. Not bad losses, especially by KO. Weston Wilson is a tall dude. 6'1", 73-inch. Okay, yeah. I thought it was going to be a lot longer than that compared to Yijia. That's interesting. Yijia is long himself, I guess. His reach is kind of there. His loss to Gabriel Santos isn't a bad loss in hindsight. Gabriel Santos arguably beat Lerone Murphy. And I mean, Lerone Murphy just did that to Aaron Pico, you know? And if you're a wrestling fan, you know how devastating that was. Jesus Christ. I would not have predicted Lerone Murphy by KO anytime in his fucking career based on the way that guy fights, alright? Literally the Lerone Murphy, or sorry, the Leon Edwards, but at featherweight. That's literally who he is. But yeah, Gabriel Santos, I thought arguably beat him. And by say arguably, I genuinely think he won that 29-28. I don't understand how they scored it for Lerone Murphy, but it is what it is. It's a rough loss to have. I'm gonna pick Yijia, but I'm gonna say this right now. By the way, like Long Xiao by KO, I think that's a pretty sneaky bet. I wouldn't be betting the house on it or anything. And this Dair guy, don't fucking bet this fight. These are two bums. Just saying. Anyways, Yijia versus Weston Wilson. I'm gonna say this. I think Yijia wins. There are times when a UFC fighter is shown to be an NPC. And what I mean by that is he's a no-name, he'll always be unranked, he'll eventually get cut, maybe he makes a return, but he'll never be ranked again. And he'll be known for maybe a quote or two. And he'll never be known again. This could be the time where Yijia is shown to be an NPC. He's not able to deal with high-level anything, he's not able to deal with talent. And what I mean by that is Weston Wilson, while he is old, and while he is he's not a twink because he's not small, but he is built like a low testosterone humanoid. You know, he's really built like Alien Romulus. But the thing with Weston Wilson's is that he is big, and he's got okay striking for his age and his style. Like, he's a karate style fighter, if you don't know. His striking is okay. It's not, you know, when you hear karate, you're probably thinking Wonder Boy. This guy's no fucking Wonder Boy. But he is big. So if you take a Jalen Turner and you give him a decent amount of weight advantage over his opponent because of size and reach and, you know, explosivity and the way he can sort of reach for submissions, like with Darce chokes and shit like that, with guillotines, you know, this could get interesting with how Weston Wilson's can fight. But he is old, he is chinny. I think he's, if he's got a game plan, it's going to be to knock out this fucking giant very early. This Alex Morono wannabe very early. But I'm not going to be surprised if I see a Weston Wilson get a win here just by being longer, out jabbing Yijia, avoiding getting taken down, because it is kind of hard to take down big dudes. And his losses, again, Gene Silva and Joe Ernesto Brito by KO. I don't think he got taken down in these fights. I think he did get taken down by Gene Silva, or maybe I'm thinking he got knocked down. But regardless, those aren't bad losses to have, man. And while I'm not ever picking Weston Wilson, you could give me Weston Wilson versus fucking anyone. You could give me Weston Wilson against Matt Chanel. I'm probably still picking Matt Chanel. I'm not ever picking Weston Wilson to win a fight. I would not be surprised at these odds. Genuinely, if you're one of these guys who bets like $5, $10 a card, bro, just throwing 5 on Weston Wilson, letting it ride, it's not even a bad play, to be honest with you. Because this could be a time where we find out Yijia is just an NPC. He doesn't learn how to fight opponents. Like, Charles Jourdain, fantastic. Very talented. He's got great submissions. His striking's pretty good. He's pretty dynamic on the feet. But he doesn't have a great chin, and he can't adapt well in a fight. We saw that with Sean Woodson. And then who else does Sean Woodson fight? Danny Ige. Danny Ige, I get it. He won that fight via TKO. If you see the result, that was not a TKO. That was the worst stoppage in any combat sport history. He was literally getting up from a takedown, and they called the fight. It was retarded. But regardless of that, Sean Woodson provided a lot of problems for Danny Ige. I thought Sean Woodson was up 2-0 personally. And this could be one of those moments where it's just like Weston Wilson's just up because he's out jabbing Yijia. He's out leg kicking Yijia. And if he's got that karate stance and he's using that distance well, Yijia might have a problem getting on the inside, getting a takedown, getting something going here. And Gabriel Santos was kind of whooping him on the feet. And Gabriel Santos really isn't that good on the feet, you know? Yeah. This one's gonna be interesting just to see how Yijia is. Like, this guy might genuinely just be an NPC industry plant type of character. Minus 1500 is fucking crazy. I don't know who the fuck is betting this guy at minus 1500. That's crazy to me. And he could win. Never in my goddamn life is he gonna look like a minus 1500 in this fight. Yeah, you can fucking take me back to here, bro. He'd have to smoke Weston Wilson like fucking the Korean Zombie Avenger did to Jekka Sarig, where he fucking did that step back KO, Jose Aldo style. Like, this gotta be like within the first minute, absolute flatline KO. Weston Wilson doesn't wake up, ends up in the hospital, like while they're announcing the decision type of finish for me to ever think that he's a minus 1500. Regardless, I'm going Yijia. I think it's like a 60-40, I'll be honest. Genetic advantages are pretty tough for unranked fighters that will never be ranked, you know? Like, when you just get, like, a big, rangy dude, it's hard to deal with that as, like, a striker or a grappler trying to get in there as a short dude. You know, we've seen it happen, but I feel like more often than not, we see just tall dudes beat small dudes that are unranked and never really going to be anything because they don't really possess that X factor. Anyways, moving on. Michel Pereira versus Kyle Dawkins. I think this is short notice. I think Michel Pereira is supposed to be fighting someone else. This is someone I'd probably put in a parlay. Michel Pereira's the typical Brazilian style, I'll say. And that might be something I'm going to start referring to. Where Brazilian fighters are kind of just 50-50. Either they look like their vintage selves, or they look like washed, they'll never be anything. And Michel Pereira's last two performances, he's looked like he'll be washed, never be anything, gonna get cut after this fight, especially if he loses. And if he does lose, I think he should get cut. But Michel Pereira's also had performances where this guy looks like he's about to be the next champ. You know? Favored against Fluffy Hernandez. Favored against McCall Olenjaychuk. And he whooped McCall Olenjaychuk. And that's aging pretty well, because McCall's going on to do good things. I do think Michel Pereira, if he has any semblance of like what he looked like in his prime, like debuting at middleweight, or like making a serious run at middleweight, because this guy did do a run in welterweight, was not that successful, as you can see with the record. He's got a lot of fights under his belt. He's got a lot of what's it called? Experience in the game. His cardio is like a big red flag. Even in this Abus fight, he gassed out pretty much after round 1. And he looked like he was just missing that blood, you know, like I smell blood, I need to go in for the kill type of fighter, you know? So I'm not going to trust this guy to go in there and like just 1-2 punch people like he was for a little bit. His little 3-fight win streak he went on, Petrosky, McCall Olenjaychuk, and I think there was another one. I don't remember the other one, but yeah, he went on a little bit of, oh, it was Igor Pateria. That's the one I was thinking of. He went on a little bit of a fucking tear for a little bit, and then he just got cooked right afterwards. I think this is like a free win for Michel Pereira. Kyle Dawkins sucks. Eric Anders beating this guy is the most pathetic thing I think I've ever seen on anyone's record. Eric Anders beating you is one thing. Eric Anders beating you by TKO via any means, that is a disgrace. You're gonna forever be unranked bum. You're never gonna be anything. Eric Anders is a shit fighter. That's a wrestling dude, right? I'm not like mixing this guy up with like an Andre Petrosky or some shit, right? Eric Anders, Mr. Anderson. Yeah, it's this fucking NPC. Yeah, Eric Anders is a pile of shit. No cardio, bad wrestling, bad striking. Got TKO'd in his last fight. Fuck that dude. Also, a billion fucking knee surgeries. Closer to the prime, Michel Pereira. Better striker, Michel Pereira. Better, more dangerous fighter, Michel Pereira. Tougher fighter, probably Michel Pereira also. Kyle Dawkins, I get it, he's on this win streak. Damn, that's 2 years with 4 fights. This guy's like, kind of got gifted this, huh? Names I've never fucking seen. Yeah. 7-7? Are you kidding me? 8-4, 7-18, 5. Yeah. Put the fries in the bag. Michel Pereira probably gets this one. He probably gets a KO. I'm gonna put KO in there just to throw it out there. Probably round 2. Maybe plays round 1 pretty safe. the big red flag for me here isn't just like his cardio problems and his lack of like blood in the water that I've seen in his last two performances. It is also the shit going on with his side piece. And if you don't know, Jacob from We Want Picks sort of started a little bit of rumors going around because he was at a UFC event, saw Michelle Pereira's corner, took a picture and was like, damn, his Giao kind of looked nice. And turned out that wasn't actually his gal, that was his side piece that the main gal wasn't supposed to find out. And the main gal ended up finding out via that image, allegedly. Okay, allegedly, just all allegedly, due to Jacob from We Want Picks, great YouTube channel, by the way. And Michelle Pereira ended up kind of getting exposed by his girlfriend a little bit, being like, I cook, I clean, I come home, I do, you know, I do this and that, and this guy's a homewrecker, get this homewrecker out of here, like, you know, so a little interesting there. So I don't know really where Michelle Pereira's mindset is at in the past, like, 12 months. We've seen crazy, fucking mentally unstable people do well, like when, I almost said, no, not Dan Ige. Bryce Mitchell fought Dan Ige, where he was full schizo mode, talking about his girlfriend being possessed by a demon and fucking burning down his house and shit. That was a weird era, but, we've also seen mentally unstable people just fucking win. And, just fucking lose and get shit on because they're just not mentally there. Tony Ferguson being a great example. So, I think Michelle Pereira gets this one done. There's another, like, 50-50 where this is just, like, if Michelle Pereira shows up like Michelle Pereira, he wins this. But if he shows up and he's in the octagon and he's thinking, like, ah, shit, you know, my side piece is probably watching this. Ah, shit, you know, I gotta make sure no one's taking pictures of my side piece in the corner. You know, so a little interesting there. Anyways, moving on. Wrong Zhu. And if you're looking for bets, I probably do. If I had to do one bet on this fight, probably be Michelle Pereira inside the distance, decision, no action. Because if Kyle Dawkins wins this, it's not going to be by finish. Unless Pereira fucking quits. But I'd be shocked, considering he didn't quit to a boost. So, I think a boost is, like, leagues better than Kyle Dawkins. Like, it's not even fucking close. Anyways, moving on. Wrong Zhu. Guess we'll find out if he's the right Zhu. Versus Austin Hubbard. Austin Hubbard got kind of robbed in his last performance against, yeah, Marquel Medeiros. And arguably his Alexander Hernandez one. Yeah. Although I did think he kind of clearly lost both of them. They were arguable, you know. This Alexander Hernandez one I remember pretty vivid. I thought this one, you know, there's a good argument he could have won that. He showed, like, good toughness. Didn't show great takedown defense. Looked like he was very easy to sort of pin down and just not really do much. You look kind of slow on the feet, but he did look, like, okay on the feet. Like, he looked capable of dealing damage. But again, that's Hernandez. Hernandez is kind of a punching bag. Wrong Zhu did beat Cody Steely. What's this loss to? Chris Padilla. Okay. Doctor stoppage. Really? Huh. Don't remember that one that well. Chris Padilla, eh? Who's this Chris Padilla looking motherfucker? Chris Padilla. Yeah, this guy's got the fucking wacky-ass hairdo. Yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, this guy's pretty fucking good. Jacob from Will on Picks was really, really high on this guy. And he got it done via doctor stoppage. I think Wrong Zhu actually had some pretty good success in this fight as well. But Chris Padilla ended up getting the doctor stoppage by the looks of things. I don't remember exactly what the case was. Probably a cut above the eye or something. Wrong Zhu does look like he does wear damage, so Austin Hubbard could win this one via decision via damage, you know, in terms of, like, opening up Wrong Zhu's face. But Wrong Zhu is good, and he's got good wrestling. Like, he's pretty capable on the ground. Austin Hubbard would have to do something we haven't seen him do, I think, in order to beat Wrong Zhu. Like, get a crazy fucking, like, not Dominic Reyes, Dustin Jacoby versus Vitor Petrino type slumped out cold KO. He'd have to do something like that, or really wear and tear while surviving any takedowns. And while I do think Austin Hubbard's capable on the feet of dealing damage, I just don't really think Austin Hubbard's capable of dealing damage while avoiding getting taken down. And I think if Wrong Zhu gets a takedown, he's active enough on the ground to at least make it look like he's winning the position. So I'm going to go with Wrong Zhu via decision here. I think this one's probably going to be a little bit of a stinker with maybe 1 or 2 moments of of Austin Hubbard landing on Rong Zhu pretty cleanly, but I'm going to go with Rong Zhu here, you know. He looked pretty okay in his last fight as well. Not a world beater here by any means, but, you know, he's young, he's good, he can improve, his reach is there. Lightweight's a tough one, though. Interesting. Moving on. Loner Cav. If I was to bet on this fight, I wouldn't bet on this fight. Minus 300 is kind of wide. I'd probably have this one like minus 150. Rong Zhu. If I was to place odds on this, but minus 300. Like, don't even fucking touch this. Moving on. Loner Kavanaugh versus Charles Johnson. Loner Kavanaugh. Little interesting that we saw his victim fight before him. Jose Ochoa. That's who it was. Jose Ochoa. Jose Ochoa actually went on to fight twice before Loner Kavanaugh did. Felipe Dos Santos was a good win. Felipe kind of fucked up this fight, though. I think that was more like Felipe being dumb, if I remember correctly. Loner Kavanaugh is explosive. He's very fast, as you should be at flyweight. Honestly, this might be a Charles Johnson sort of fluke. I say fluke just in terms of, like, I think this is where Charles Johnson might just pick up a KO. Loner Kavanaugh is very open on the feet. He gets hit very often, I want to say. You know, he kind of does get lit up. Charles Johnson's also a long dude. Yeah, 70-inch reach. It's not bad, man. It's not bad. You know, almost 1/3 of a ruler longer. 3-inch difference. Guys, 3 inches is a lot of... pretty big, all right? But, yeah, Charles Johnson... he's one of these guys who doesn't look that good, but he is sneaky good because he's always sort of live, you know. And at flyweight, it's one thing to say they're always live because they are tiny and everything, but Charles Johnson typically is always live. Like, he'll land good shots and it'll be like putting people down. It'll be like you visibly see the person like wincing and shit. You know, I think he finished Joshua Van. He's finished Joshua Van and he beat Sumaderji. Like, those are good fucking wins, man. You know, he's got really good anti-grappling as well. So, Loner Kavanaugh, in my opinion, to win this fight, he's kind of gotta outstrike Charles Johnson. You know, like, if he gets the grappling going, Charles Johnson's... he's pretty good at avoiding getting finished on the ground. You know, this Razman Temerov... eesh... I think that was a bad performance, if I'm remembering correctly, for Charles Johnson. I think he just kind of got fucked up round to round. No, beat Jake Hadley. That's not bad. Beat a Jake Hadley at flyweight. Pretty impressive. It's a tough one. I kind of do like Charles Johnson here, though. You know, I get Loner Kavanaugh hasn't lost. But at flyweight, with that, it doesn't really mean much, bro. 5'4", man. Like, that's tough, man. 5'4". You're going against almost a 6-foot-tall Charles Johnson, man. Like, that's a tough one, bro. This is a tough one. I think Loner Kavanaugh, in order to win this fight, he's gonna have to outstrike Charles Johnson. I just don't see it. I can see Loner Kavanaugh diving to legs. I can see Loner Kavanaugh eventually getting back. But I think if he gets back, Charles Johnson's going to, like, slam him on the ground. And he's going to reverse position. Charles Johnson gets taken down, like, picked up and dunked. I think he's going to scramble up to his feet. He's got pretty sneaky good scrambles, you know. I think this is going to be a Charles Johnson, vintage Charles Johnson, piecing up Loner Kavanaugh, eventually finding a finish, you know. So I'm going to go with Charles Johnson via KO. I want to say... round 1 or 2. I don't even mind Charles Johnson via, like, sub, like a Darce choke, or like a guillotine off Loner Kavanaugh getting desperate. Because when a striker, or not necessarily a striker, but when someone's striking and they're losing the striking exchanges and they get desperate for a takedown and they finally see an opportunity to shoot, if Charles Johnson's able to see it, which normally he is able to see, like, a lot of things coming his way, if he's able to see this takedown get shot, Loner Kavanaugh's explosive, but I don't know, man. I feel like Charles Johnson, even at 34, like, he's a pretty speedy dude, you know? So, I think it's going to be interesting. This is gonna be dictated about how round 1 goes. I think whoever wins round 1 is going to win this fight, you know? I don't necessarily mean because of, like, in round 1, but if Charles Johnson wins round 1, believe he could probably whoop up this guy for 3 rounds. And if he does win round 1, I believe he's going to be winning the striking exchanges. I think he could probably find a finish. And if he's getting pushed against the fence, but he wins the round based off, like, submission attempts, I think it's going to be Charles Johnson, man. Kind of like him at this underdog, you know? I might be putting $10 on Charles Johnson, you know? I might put 10 on Charles. Nice little tenner on the money line, you know? Maybe. I think these odds are widening, so maybe I'll wait a little bit. Maybe the underdog is going to get heavier. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Charles Johnson. I think he's a sneaky good underdog on this card. But, yeah, moving on. Maheshate versus Gage Young. G-Money Gage Young. Yeah, Maheshate's not that good, but neither is Gage Young. Gage Young lost to Evan Elder. I want to say that was a short notice. Yeah, it was a debut. I want to say it was short notice. I want to say that wasn't like a full camp Gage Young here, but he just couldn't, man, he couldn't grapple Evan Elder, and that's kind of like, I know Evan Elder's coming off like a pretty tough performance against somebody recently who was really good at striking. I can't fucking remember his name for some reason. God damn it. It's always the Elders, you know? Or it's always the Evans, you know? No, I'm thinking of Darren Elkins. What the fuck? Darren the Damage Elkins. I always confuse Evan Elder with Darren Elkins. Yeah, Evan Elder, though, he's the guy who looks different in every fight. Some fights he looks like Matt Wahlberg. Other fights he'll look like fucking... who's that one star? He's got a blockhead. I can't fucking remember his name, but... I don't think Evan Elder's that good. Nicholas Mata, he's good, though. Gabriel Benitez. Warshev knocked him out. Damn, man. This guy's been around for a while, huh? Got KO'd. Oh, man. Oof. This is a tough one. I feel like, in a way, this is supposed to be a layup for Gage Young. But Maheshate, he is losing the good comp. His grappling is like, you know? Gage Young doesn't really look like he's all that either. I'm going to go with Gage Young. I'm not that confident about it, though. This, to me, is like a very 50-50 fight. Gage Young, I think, can hold Maheshate down for 3 rounds. Maybe threaten a submission here and there. But Gage Young's not one of these grapplers like Hamzat and shit that, like, maybe he's improved his game, but he's not one of these guys who's going to hold you down and strike. He's kind of one of these guys who'll just chain wrestle. That's about it, you know? Like, kind of like Isaac Dolgarian, but like a worse version. Lightweight's a tough one. Maheshate, though, he doesn't really look like a lightweight. Yeah, Steve Garcia. Oh, man. Borshev, too. Like, yeah. Like, I don't know, man. Maheshate, he kind of looks flabby out there. You know, he always looks like he doesn't really have a lot of aura. You know, and... last one was a split. Oh, he KO'd Steve Garcia. That's impressive. Huh. That's the thing, man. If Maheshate gets a fluke, I wouldn't be that surprised. You know? But he's still young too. Like, bro, these are some fucking tough fights to predict. I'm gonna go with Maheshate via the upset. I think he's gonna get a KO. No, I think he's gonna get a knockdown. I think he's gonna get, like, Gage Young cut up pretty bad. Because I think if he gets held against the cage, he's smart enough to, like, elbow to the side of the head and start getting cuts and, you know. I just don't think Gage Young has anything other than chain wrestling to really beat Maheshate. Like, I really don't. You know? And maybe he does come out here and smoke Maheshate. Maheshate does not have a great chin. He doesn't wear damage well, in my opinion. He always looks like he's getting hurt. He looks flabby out there. I'm gonna go with Gage Young. This is a tough one, man. I'm gonna go with Gage Young. And I reckon it's gonna be a 29-28, and people are gonna be like, robbery. Yeah. This is gonna be a snooze, I think. But Gage Young's gonna get fucked up pretty bad. You know, I think this is gonna look a lot like Dan Ige, Bryce Mitchell. I think this is gonna look a lot like that. where it's like Mahachete's doing something, gets taken down. Maybe he's trying to get some grappling position. Maybe he gets butterfly guard. Gage Young's just going to be hugging him, I think. And I think they're going to rep that control time. It is China, though, man. You know, like, it's the thing, man. Fuck, man. Fuck this card. Yeah, I'm going to go with Gage Young. Moving on. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this guy's first name. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his second name. I'm going to call him Lake. I'm terrible with names, bro. I'm just going to call this guy Lake. So Lake versus Crosby over here. You know? Kiefer Crosby, eh? Yikes, man. That's, yikes, man. That's such a bad fucking fight, bro. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, man. Like, what is the UFC doing, bro? No wonder why you guys are going to fucking Paramount. Who the fuck is gonna pay $80 to watch this dog shit? Who's the favorite? Like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? Are we just picking up bums in the alley, bro? Am I gonna get a UFC contract sent in the mail? Like, what the fuck is going on with the sport, bro? Holy shit. This guy's making his debut. I don't watch anything other than UFC as of recent. Maybe Street Beefs, but I don't know who the fuck this dude is. Cool nickname, I guess, but I don't watch Dragon Ball Z. I think it's one of the cringiest animes. Just because it's very memeable, and I can't watch memeable animes like that in JoJo's, but BDK? Who the like... This guy's just an NPC, bro. Like, where do they find these fucking people? Ireland, too? Dublin, Ireland? 35 years old. Are we serious? Are we serious? We're just hiring any Irishman these days? I'm gonna go with this guy by decision. I don't care. Kiefer Crosby looks like shit in every one of his fights. His losses are really, really bad fucking losses. Kevin Jousset is not a good grappler by any means. Also French, also very dumb. Very, very dumb. His fight IQ is very questionable. Sam Patterson also... He's a BJJ nerd. His striking is fucking terrible. This guy's 35 years old. A mega reach disadvantage and height disadvantage. So welterweight and you're 5'11". I guess 5'11 is not bad for welterweight, to be fair. Yeah, like Kiefer Crosby's just an NPC. Looks like an NPC. He's probably gonna get crushed like an NPC. Moving on, Sumaderji versus Kevin Borjas. Kevin Borjas, if I'm correct, got his first win in the UFC, his last fight. Yes, I am correct. He lost to Joshua Van and Costa, and I picked him to beat Ronaldo Rodriguez because this guy fucking sucks. Kevin Borjas is a can. Don't get it twisted. So I'm going to go with Sumaderji. Let's just get that out of the way. Sumaderji probably let's go by sub, you know, because he just beat Nate the Train, or Mitch Ramos, that's what I meant to say. Oops. wrong fucking Chinese name, I guess. Yeah. Damn. Mitch Rapose, eh? I think Mitch Rapose just kind of, like, is fucking terrible. But, you know, Charles Johnson, good loss. Tim Elliott, good loss in hindsight nowadays because Kaya Sakura just got fucked up. Matt Chanel, also not a terrible loss. You know, just look at what Matt Chanel did to Jimmy Flick, guys. But no, I think Sumaderji just beats the guys he's supposed to beat. And he loses to the guys who will be ranked. You know, I don't think Sumaderji's going to be ranked anytime soon. I think Sumaderji is slowly improving. You know, with this Mitch Rapose fight, it was close. That was a split, really? I don't remember it being that much of a controversial decision. I thought Sumaderji clearly won that. Kevin Borjas striking is I. Did he finish him? No, it was a decision, right? Kevin Borjas striking is I. His grappling is, like, non-existent for his offense. His grappling takedowns... Or, sorry, his takedown defense isn't that bad. He's just very tiny. Kind of requires someone to be stupid. I don't think Sumaderji's stupid. You know? I think Sumaderji just gets outworked by the better opponent. I don't think Kevin Borjas is better, like, anywhere. You know, I think offensively grappling, I think Sumidaerji is going to be pushing the pace. I think if we're talking about striking, I think Sumidaerji is going to be pushing the pressure. Kevin Borjas can swing. It is flyweight, though, so it's like pretty much all of them can. Unless you're named Jimmy Flick or Kaya Sakura, apparently. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Sumidaerji. I feel like he's probably going to latch up a sub here, you know? I feel like Kevin Borjas, he's very reckless in the grappling exchanges, you know? Not finished on the feet, eh? What am I thinking of? Why am I thinking this guy got fucking guillotined or Darced or some shit? Why do I just have an image of him getting Darce choked? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of a different fucking person, but yeah, this is interesting. Damn, people are high on Kevin Borjas? Really? I don't know. I feel like Sumidaerji's gonna be implementing a lot of pressure here. I feel like this is his time to get into a sort of win streak going, you know? He's bigger, he's longer. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sumidaerji by sub here. I really don't see Mitch Rapose. Why am I blanking on who this guy looks like? Mitch Rapose. This guy is just Adrian Yanez. Who the fuck? This had grappling in it, right? I want to say Mitch Rapose was shooting a bunch of takedowns, but he couldn't really get much going. And the striking was like, I feel like Mitch Rapose is better than Kevin Borjas. Yeah, I just think Sumidaerji is going to be better everywhere. I'm going to go decision. I think Sumidaerji is going to get it done. I think Sumidaerji, he might get wobbled in one moment. He might get rocked at some point in like round 2 or 3, but I think round 1, I think the early rounds are going to be Sue's, and I think Kevin Borjas is going to look to try to get something going in round 3, but not really be able to implement anything. And overall, I think it's going to be a 30-27 Sumidaerji. Very clear Sumidaerji. Maybe gets a finish. Kevin Borjas is kind of open on the feet. He has that like tight sort of Muay Thai guard. Yeah, I think Kevin Borjas is very finishable here, so I'm going to go Sumidaerji. Site favorite. I'd probably not parlay him. I maybe wouldn't touch this. This is flyweights where like both of these guys are relatively not that great. In hindsight, like none of these guys are going to be ranked, and none of them like aren't clearly better than them. I think Sumidaerji's better than everywhere, but I'm not that. Like I did pick Kevin Borjas to win his last fight, his first one in the UFC. I did pick that, but I just don't think Kevin Borjas is like Sumidaerji level, you know, like Sue's good. Kevin Borjas is like passable. Ronaldo Rodriguez just fucking blows, you know. So, like I think Sumidaerji would finish Ronaldo Rodriguez. So that's kind of where I see. Anyways, moving on to real fights. Holy shit! Finally, Jesus Christ! Sergey Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. I am a Sergey Pavlovich glazer. I was, you know, I back in my betting era, back when I was gambling a lot, you know, I put 50 on Pavlovich via Tom Aspinall. Safe to say I never bet on Aspinall after that. Yeah, I was pretty high on Pavlovich. John Jones still ducking under that octagon, hiding away from the Sergey Pavlovich even now. You know, he doesn't want none of that fucking smoke after what Sergey did to Jolton Almeida his last fight. All right, you know. John Jones saw another brother get taken down via a Russian style, and he's like, I ain't want none of that smoke. Hey, Aspinall, where are you at? You know? So, yeah, to duck Pavlovich, and, you know, unfortunately, Pavlovich just never got that John Jones fight, but it is what it is. Technically, Pavlovich should have fought Stipe, if you think about it, because Pavlovich showed up, made weight for championship, then John Jones pulled out during Stipe, John Jones, and they for some reason made Pavlovich Aspinall. Very weird, but Pavlovich is really good. He is really good. He's really good everywhere. He's a little slow, and he's very hittable, but he is good. He's got power. He's got good boxing. Like, pretty good boxing, I'd say. I'd say he's probably the best boxer in heavyweight. Maybe outside Aspinall. But Aspinall's a really good MMA striker. Not really a boxer, if you kind of catch my drift. But Pavlovich has got really good boxing. Waldo just has this fucking Salsa Boy plot armor. I don't know what it is. I thought he lost his last fight personally. I do understand why they gave it to Waldo Cortez. Because, like, Spivak just fucking didn't do enough. But I do think Spivak did more damage and looked like the fighter who wanted to, like, finish the fight more than Waldo did. I just think Waldo, he pays off the judges. Like, I don't fucking know how he keeps winning, bro. The Andrei Arlovsky fight, very close fight. You could have arguably given that to Andrei Arlovsky, you know? Then he gets Robelis Despain, and he's just able to fucking grapple this kid, you know? And he was like a mega underdog too. Robelis Despain, genetic freak, just fucking takes him down, does nothing. And very boring grappling. Ryan Spann gets gifted that because Ryan Spann turned out he just had brain worms when he moved up to heavyweight. He's always had brain worms, but, you know, they came out during his heavyweight debut, let me tell you. But, like, bro, I really do like Pavlovich, and I get it, his loss to Volkov. In hindsight, his loss to Volkov, hear me out, is actually kind of good. He went 3 rounds, and a lot of the questions for Pavlovich was, what does he look like in the 3rd round? You know, because he either got finished in the 1st round, or he finished in the 1st round, you know? And that was his whole career, smoking guys. Smoked Curtis Blades, stuffed a takedown, smoked him. Smoked Tai Tuivasa, easiest fucking KO of his life. I want to say it was Derek Lewis, smoked him as well, dropped Derek Lewis crumpled. So he's got power. I think he still has that power. I think this Volkov fight sort of took his striking confidence, though. And I know that's odd, like, you can, because he out-wrestled Rosenstruik for 3 rounds. And by out-wrestled, I literally mean he took down Rosenstruik and laid on Rosenstruik for 3 rounds. That fat fuck never figured out how to get up. Pavlovich is a tricky, like, this is just all, like, where Pavlovich's mind is. If he comes in, like it's the Aspinall fight, or the Curtis Blades fight, I think this guy smokes Waldo Cortez Acosta. But if he comes in this fight like the Rosenstruik, I think it's going to be hard to take down Salsa Boy. I can't believe I'm fucking saying this, but I'm going with Cortez Acosta here. I'm picking him because if I don't pick him, and he wins this fight, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Because I have a 0% win rate with this fat fuck. And Waldo Cortez Acosta is just a fat fuck. Don't get it twisted. Pavlovich is more in shape than 99% of these heavyweights, including Waldo. Pavlovich is the better boxer. He's arguably the better striker. But Waldo, I don't know what he has, but he has this, like, effect where he just makes his opponent brain dead. Like, Robelis Despain never figured out how to get up from a takedown. And I get it, Robelis Despain, that's more of him being shit on the ground. I get it. But Jesus Christ, man. Like, that was just pathetic from Robelis. Andrei Arlovsky, there's moments where it's like, I think Andrei landed like 150 leg strikes or some shit. He landed like a leg strike record or some shit on Waldo Cortez Acosta. And it was just one of those, just the judges had pre-written scorecards, I guess. And then what was the last one? Oh, the Ryan Spann one. He just made Ryan Spann do spinning fucking wheel kicks while he was wobbled, making Ryan Spann have 0 striking defense. Although Ryan Spann is dumb. This is like, man, I don't want to pick against Pavlovich, but I just, like, am I the only one that sees just Waldo Cortez Acosta just somehow making it a boring staring competition with Pavlovich, and Pavlovich just can't get in there with boxing combos? Because Waldo's weakness is leg kicks and pressure. If you do those 2 things, you beat Waldo. Spivak didn't have the pressure. He had okay, I don't remember if he really did leg kicks. Doesn't research his opponents. And he looked like kind of shit in that fight, I'll be honest. I do think he kind of, like, there's an argument who won that fight, but regardless. Ryan Spann is a retard. Robelis Despain is a retard. Andrei Arlovsky is a 45-year-old man, and even he knew he could just leg kick him. But Pavlovich doesn't do leg kicks. He kind of does just, he boxes and he shoots a takedown in Big 2025. I want to pick Pavlovich. I really, really do. But I just don't think, like, I so see Pavlovich shooting a takedown, it getting stuffed. Because, like, Waldo at least knows wrestling, and that's a big difference in heavyweight, man. That's a really fucking big difference when Waldo just knows wrestling at heavyweight, you know? Because 99% of these fat fucks don't know wrestling. They've never even heard of it, you know? That's why Marcin Tybura has smoked everyone, you know? Fuck, man. This is depressing, but I'm gonna go with Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think he could get a finish. But I'm gonna go decision. 29-28. Pavlovich has a really good round 1, and can't get anything going in round 2. No, I'm gonna say Pavlovich has a really good round 3. And round 1 and 2 are gonna be close, but they're gonna be Waldo, like sided towards Waldo. Stuff to take down, outlands Pavlovich. But I'm gonna say it right now. I'm rooting for Pavlovich. I want Pavlovich to knock this fucking fat fuck, egotistical, fucking smiling while dancing around doing absolute fucking nothing in the octagon fat fuck. I hope he gets knocked out. But, you know, I'm rooting for Pavlovich, but I think at this point in their careers, Waldo just has fucking... Where's Waldo genuinely has plot armor at heavyweight? I don't know what it is. The judges have pre-written scorecards, and he makes his opponent either more retarded or he just fights retards. I think we're going to find out if Pavlovich is a retard. So, yeah, I'm picking Waldo Cortez Acosta here. Those are pretty big underdog numbers, all things considered. Considering this guy's 14, like, that's kind of insane. I get Pavlovich's losses are really good, but... Like, if this was Volkov, I'd be picking Volkov, obviously, against Waldo. If this was Tom Aspinall, I'd be picking Tom Aspinall against Waldo, but it's not. It's Pavlovich, and Pavlovich has shown he can be finished, both by Alistair Overeem and Tom Aspinall, which is his only other loss. He has 3 losses: Alistair Overeem, Tom Aspinall, Volkov. Those are incredible names to have as your losses, you know. But damn, he's got the reach advantage too. That's kind of crazy. 84-inch reach is wild. Good boxer too. But you know, I think if Pavlovich. If we're doing, I'm going to say this right now, if we're doing walkouts and I see Pavlovich with 1,000 spots on his back, Waldo just wins the fight. Pavlovich is probably going to gas towards the end. Have a good round 3 maybe, where it looks like he's getting after it, like he's looked like he's willing to trade. But I think that Volkov fight kind of took away his confidence in early striking exchanges, you know? And that's why he didn't really play it too risky with Rosenstrike. You know, I'd reckon Cortez Acosta is a little bit more dangerous than Rosenstrike at this point in their careers. I like Rosenstrike, but that was a bad performance. But yeah, I'm going to go with Cortez Acosta. God, this video is getting long. Moving on, Brian Ortega versus, and yeah, underdog, by the way. If you're on the Cortez Acosta side, I think just playing money line is a pretty safe bet. Because this could be a weird finish situation, or this could be a decision win. But if you're really trying to hunt value, $5 in Waldo by decision probably ain't bad. Moving on, Brian Ortega versus Aljamain Sterling at featherweight. If you're older, you obviously know Aljamain Sterling's a former 135 champion, arguably the second best 135 champion, right next to Merab. And Brian Ortega is still trying to find the cave to smash his beak and reborn himself into a new fighter. I thought he was saying he was going to lightweight. I guess he decided not to. Don't know why he would want to go to lightweight, because he does look fucking... He looks like an old man. Like, he's 34. In his last, like, 3 fights... 3? His last 2 fights. Because he took a long layoff. You know, he found that cave, smashing his beak, and rolled his ankle in order to beat Yair Rodriguez. What a impressive performance that was. But the Lopez fight, he got whooped. Bell to bell. Like, I mean, everyone agrees there. I think he got whooped by Lopez bell to bell. Got knocked down, got put out in the feet round 1. You could tell Lopez really wanted to get that submission, and that's why he didn't finish the fight via TKO. But if Lopez wanted to finish that fight via TKO, he would have. Because that's just what our king does. But regardless, I got Aljamain in this. Wow, those odds are crazy. What? Minus 305. Really? That's kind of wild. Aljamain's just the better grappler, I think. Like, as much as Brian Ortega's grappling is kind of the thing that keeps him around, because he is able to just muscle around twinks like Yair Rodriguez. Doesn't really have a good win in the past 5 years. Like, can we just be real? He literally doesn't have a good win in the last 5 years. So I haven't seen this guy. This is like a Calvin Kattar moment, where it's just like, I personally, as a newer fan who's been watching for 3 years, I haven't seen this guy beat a legit opponent in 5 years. Sorry, in the 3 years I've been watching, but overall 5 years given his record, you know? Wow, he beat Korean Zombie, crazy. You know? Wow, he beat Yair Rodriguez, the twink. That was more Yair being absolutely horseshit than it was Brian Ortega being good. I think everyone agrees there. But Aljamain Sterling, I think, wins this 9 times out of 10. I think this is an easy Aljo win. I reckon he probably wins by decision, though. He could get a sub. It's possible. And Aljamain, like, his striking isn't great. So there's decent odds here that Brian Ortega could piece up Aljo. Because we have seen Aljo put out cold by O'Malley, but it's just like, it's one of these things where I think we've seen Aljo put out cold a lot, Marlon Moraes, but typically it takes like a really dangerous striker. Brian Ortega is more of a volume dude. He's not really like heating his hands type of dude. I just think Aljo is good on the ground, man. If Aljo gets your back, he's riding your back. I feel like at this point in his career, I think the way this fight's going to go is round 1 and 2 are going to be dominant Aljo. Like, arguably 10-8 if it was Khamzat Chimaev, but because it's Aljo, it's going to be 10-9. But I think Aljamain's going to slaughter Brian Ortega in round 1 and 2. Probably be more active, because I think he learned from his Mozavar loss. You need to be more active when you have dominant position, because that's the only reason why he lost that fight. I know it's arguable. A lot of people still say that Aljamain arguably beat Evloev. I don't think so. On hindsight now that I'm looking back at it, Mozavar did just do enough, I think, to barely win. Did beat Kelvin Kattar, but I don't see where Brian Ortega wins here. Like, if this was boxing, maybe Brian Ortega sneaks a win. But this is MMA. I think MMA striking, Aljamain's better. I think on the ground, Aljamain's better. I think jiu-jitsu, submission-wise, Aljamain's more dangerous. You know? Aljamain's got the longer reach, man. Like, kind of not good for Brian Ortega against another grappler. And Brian hasn't fought anyone fucking good in a while, man. Like, in a long time. So, I think Brian Ortega's era's over. He probably gets cut after this. I mean, he got saved because Yair Rodriguez threw that fight, but that's about it. Moving on to the main event. Johnny, and if you're betting, by the way, Aljamain by sub is probably like a sneaky value play, but I wouldn't be playing Aljamain parlays. Maybe Aljo parlays. I think if I was to parlay this card, Aljo. This is interesting. Now I'm thinking about it. If I was to parlay this, I'd probably do Aljo, Rongju, and Michel Pereira. I think those 3 are pretty good. I think those 3 are like, not locks, but I think, you know, if you want to get risky, maybe a Long Zhao. Throw him in there. I think that'd be like a way to sneak some value with some pretty safe bets. But yeah, I'm going to go with Aljo. I think Aljo just smokes him. Anyways, moving on. The main event. Johnny Walker, the man who took Khalil Roundtree's soul and made him go on fucking performance-enhancing drugs and join a cult, versus Mingyang Zhang, the guy who retired Anthony Smith. You know, he figured out the armadillo style better than anyone. Finished him very early. You know, not even Johnny Walker, not even the great John Jones figured out Anthony Smith styles that well, you know? So there's something to be said there. Maybe Mingyang Zhang, John Jones should be the #1 contender. You know, just saying, you know. One of them's finished Anthony Smith, the other one arguably lost via DQ. Tell me that's not a fact. Anyways, Johnny Walker versus Mingyang Zhang. Listen, Johnny Walker's one of these guys. I think everyone agrees here. Johnny Walker's always going to be a live underdog. Doesn't matter his matchup. He's tall. He's big. He's one of these dudes who does get away with just being athletic over some of his opponents. As he did against Khalil Roundtree. Literally fucking smoked Khalil. Elbow on the inside. Flatline KOs fucking Khalil Roundtree. God, that highlight was sick. Good win over Paul Craig, to be fair. But it is Paul Craig. DQ'd on Ankalaev. No. The thing is that Johnny Walker, he's not a good MMA fighter. He's just a good athlete. And I think that's what it is. Mingyang Zhang looks like an okay MMA fighter. I know a lot of his previous performances aren't that good. Ozzy Diaz, terrible, terrible, terrible. Brenton Hibero, also not a great Not the greatest opponents, but, like, not bad in hindsight. Light heavyweights are kind of terrible. And Anthony Smith's most credentialed wins. He was getting kind of pieced up by Anthony Smith. This is one of those, like, I'm picking Mingyang Zhang. I mean, you can't pick, like, picking Johnny Walker in Big 2025. It's kind of wild in my opinion. But betting on Johnny Walker is another thing. If I was to make a bet, I'd probably do Johnny Walker via inside the distance decision no action. Or I'd do Johnny Walker by KO. That'd be my bet if I had to put money on this fight. But I think Mingyang Zhang probably wins. He's probably going to get after it in round 1, too. He's pretty fast. But Johnny Walker, he's not a good MMA fighter. And what I mean by that is, like, yeah, he's got jiu-jitsu. Yeah, he's got heat in his hands. But he is just big and he's long. And because of that, he does this thing. Johnny just sort of... He'll jab and then try to, like, circle out. Or he'll leg kick and try to circle out. Or he'll head kick and then circle out. Like, he's always just these one strikes. He's never, like, a combo fighter, you know? Maybe, like, prime Johnny Walker when he was on his come-up, sure. But I feel like after that Jamal Hill loss, that's kind of where it's just, like, he got really scared of getting KO'd. But I think Johnny Walker, he's a good guy to bet on, sort of like Derek Lewis in a funny, weird way. He's sort of like a Derek Lewis, where you kind of bet on him by KO, but you don't really pick him to win a fight, you know? But Johnny Walker, he's dangerous, and Mingyang Zhang can be a punching bag in some of his performances. And we don't really know what Mingyang Zhang does against, like, big adversity. So if Johnny Walker gets the early pressure going, his brother's got momentum with the 3 heel hooks, Volter Walker. He's got some big momentum right now in the heavyweight division. I heard Johnny Walker was moving up to heavyweight. I guess he belayed those plans. I just think Johnny Walker doesn't take damage well. I don't even mean just that he's chinny. Bro, every time he gets hit, he acts like he's a model getting fucking his nose broken. Like, am I wrong in saying that? Uncle Live landed one, like, left hand. And Walker was like, oh, my nose, please, no, not my nose. You know, like, really, brother? You know, and then what was his other loss? Ozdemir. I mean, it is what it is. Ozdemir fucking flatlined him. I want to say it was with an elbow or some shit like that. It was against the cage. Fucked him up. But yeah, Walker just doesn't really have a chin. Mingyang Zhang's known for dealing damage. I mean, he finished the great Anthony Smith. I mean, there's really not much else to say. I think this fight's going to be pretty cut and dry. This is either going to be Johnny Walker lands one big shot on the outside with Mingyang Zhang either exiting from an exchange poorly or going into an exchange poorly. Because he does kind of ride high with his high guard. So I think if he, like, doesn't see a kick coming or a jab coming, maybe he gets chinned and put out cold. But I think for the most part, Mingyang's going to try to get this going in round 1. I think if he just lands flush, like on the jaw of Johnny Walker, Johnny's going to get put down, you know? So, yeah, I think it's pretty cut and dry. I got Mingyang Zhang round 1 KO. That's been my picks and predictions for the whole card. This has been a long fucking card. I appreciate everyone making it all the way to the end of this video. If you made it to the end, I want to thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you have a good day.